Hello, greetings and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to talk about metaconsciousness. So, how did we get to this? It comes up in Advaita Vedanta and Kashmir Shaivism, and also Bernardo Kastrup. Now, the idea is that according to Bernardo Kastrup, there's phenomenal consciousness, which is just consciousness. You're just conscious. You don't realize you're conscious. Now, then there's metaconsciousness, where you are conscious of being conscious. So this in Advaita Vedanta is called reflected consciousness. So the idea is that pure consciousness, Brahman, isn't actually conscious of being conscious. There's just consciousness there. And this reflected consciousness there's an aspect of the mind which reflects the consciousness. Maybe it's in the subtle body or something, but it reflects the consciousness back to us so we can see ourselves being conscious. And this is something that is in the mind and not part of the awareness itself. So according to Bernardo Kastrup, he thinks mind at large, so what's out there in the universe, is conscious, phenomenally conscious, but not actually metaconscious, not aware of being aware. And we have evolved this metaconsciousness, this awareness that we are aware. He also says that there have been studies that in dreams, people are not metaconscious, that people... Sometimes, of course, you have lucid dreams where you're aware, but a lot of the time we're actually not metaconscious. We don't realize that we're conscious. And when I think of my dreams, I think most of the time I'm not metaconscious. The dream is going on, and yes, I feel like I'm in the dream and I'm doing things and reacting to other people as if I were conscious, because I am conscious, because there I am in the dream. But it's only upon reflection afterwards, when you wake up, that you realize that you were conscious. And this is why we don't realize we're dreaming, despite the very strange things that are happening. We don't have this self-reflexive quality. Now, so this is the idea in Advaita Vedanta. In Kashmir Shaivism, they think that the ultimate reality is conscious of being conscious, is aware of being aware. There's no need for a reflected consciousness. So the ground of reality, this Satchitananda, is the existence, consciousness, bliss, is conscious of being conscious in itself, and that's its quality. Now, I've listened to a lot of lectures by Swami Sarvapriyananda, and some of them are very, very deep. And I remember him saying that this cannot, if you follow this idea, philosophically it runs into problems. Now, I'm not sure what he was talking about. Maybe he mentioned it, maybe I've forgotten it, but I got this impression that the idea is that Advaita Vedanta developed as a response to Buddhism. So Buddhism had all this teaching about emptiness and all the meditation, and Advaita Vedanta came along and sort of rescued Hinduism. In contrast to, and they debated with the Buddhists for 1,000 years or something like that over these things. So lots of little details that were ironed out and worked upon. And some of the ancient Indian systems of logic are incredibly advanced. In the modern world, we don't realize how much they had developed back then. Now, so within this period of all these philosophers and pundits and people debating each other, they had no internet, no television to watch, and I get the impression that through this analysis, through the challenges of Buddhism, saying that there was no separate self, and Advaita Vedanta defending the Atman, the self. And so I think they were pushed into this viewpoint. I'm not sure of the details. Maybe I'll try to find out for next time. But yeah, the idea is that if you accept that consciousness is aware of being aware, as in Kashmir Shaivism, it runs into problems. Now, Kashmir Shaivism has got a lot more kind of visualizations and different breathing techniques and things like this, and it's very, very, very complex. But it doesn't seem to be quite as pure as Advaita Vedanta. Now, also Advaita Vedanta has different levels. You have the very, very pure stuff from Gaurapada's Karaka, commenting on the Mandukya Upanishad, that basically nothing is made, nothing is created, and Brahman is unchanging, not the doer, not the not touched by anything, and it's very hard line. So now I've heard, so we get this Kashmir Shaivism teaching that consciousness is naturally aware in itself. And the people who come from that line, so we've got, I don't know them all, but certainly the ones that I have influenced me are Jean Klein, taught Francis Lucille, who taught Rupert Spira, and in an interview, not an interview, but in a question and answer session with Rupert Spira that I was watching, a woman asked about this reflected consciousness. She said, what is this reflected consciousness? Because clearly she'd been watching videos by Swami Sarvapriyananda, and he just said there is no reflective consciousness. It's an error. It's a mistake. There's no need for this reflective consciousness. Consciousness is aware in itself. And he said, since his very early lectures, he has been saying that consciousness is aware of being aware. I think he says that less now. I think actually he's moved away from that a bit. Or I think I even heard him say that he doesn't use this term as much as he used to. So there you go. The idea from Bernardo Kastrup is that the universe, not just the universe, but what's out there, what's behind this dashboard that we see, this world, this dashboard that we've evolved to understand reality, or to navigate reality, is the mind at large. And he says that the mind at large is not metaconscious. It's just conscious. And then this idea of being metaconscious, we've evolved. Now, whether or not this is the case, I don't know, but it's interesting to reflect on. And certainly during meditation, I used to do a lot of meditation where I was trying to be aware of being aware. I would sit there and I'm aware, I'm present, here I am. What's this like to be aware? And this is a good analysis or study, something to do. But what I found personally is that I was focusing on being aware. So there was clearly an object there. Now, if there's no object, then we are just aware. There is no self-reflective quality. And this would fit with if it's true that in dreams we are not aware of being aware, which is kind of my experience, because I've woken up from my dreams, and I wrote down my dreams for a year, actually. It was all rubbish, by the way. And I think that I'm not metaconscious. I'm not conscious of being conscious. I'm just there doing things, acting, behaving. And there's a question of what things are metaconscious, what things are aware of being aware. Maybe dogs and cats, they're certainly aware, but maybe they're aware of being aware or not. I think Bernardo Kastrup says that life is we see life on our dashboard as being this is what a disassociation from the mind at large looks like. So when we see life, we are seeing a alter. So the alter is the word for a disassociation. So in multiple personality disorder, now it's called dissociative disorder, I think. When there are multiple personalities, each multiple personality is an alter, and it's disassociated from the greater mind and dissociated from the other minds. So he says that life, what we see, when we see life is what a disassociation looks like. This is what an alter looks like. So this thing, so whether it's a very primitive form of life, or a dog or a cat or a tree, this is a sign that is disassociated from the mind at large and has its own viewpoint. But whether this viewpoint is itself conscious of being conscious, I'm not sure what his point on that is. I don't think so. I think he sees certain levels of consciousness. And then regarding the Advaita Vedanta, yes, the Brahman is not conscious, aware of being aware. It's just awareness, just pure awareness. This doesn't mean that it does to some degree. It does illuminate its own awareness, though, to some degree. So if you imagine a light, so if you imagine a book and a candle, now the flame of the candle lights up the book. So the flame of the candle is conscious, is the light. It casts light on the book. Now the light in itself is always illuminated. So this is like consciousness. So it's conscious in itself and of itself. This is its nature. But this doesn't necessarily mean that it doesn't need to cast light on itself to be lit. It's a flame. It's a fire. So it's self-illuminating. This doesn't mean that it's metaconscious. This just means that it doesn't need another thing to illuminate it. It is there and illuminated. So there we go. I hope that this was something that I wasn't sure about, because I've heard different things from different people, from Rupert Spira, who I respect, and Swami Sarvapriyananda, who is incredible. And it seemed to be conflictive. So I just thought I'd put it there in a video for you so you understand what this distinction is. There was, just to finish, there's a new channel I'm watching called, I think it's called Absolute Philosophy, and there's an interview with Bernardo Kastrup and there's a PhD person with in philosophy. It's a fantastic channel, and they're debating this. And the guy is also an idealist, the philosopher he's talking to, and he says, in my idealism, I want the mind at large, the universal mind that we are a disassociation of. He wants that to be at least as refined, or not, the word isn't refined, but at least as complex, if not more, than human consciousness. So maybe this idea of metaconsciousness, this reflection of being aware. You're aware, and then you have this mirror that shows you that you're aware, this mirror in the mind. Maybe this is something human, and maybe there is another thing that's even beyond that. So it doesn't mean that it's less, that mind at large or Brahman is less primitive, more primitive than the human mind. If it's not metaconscious and you think, well, it could be more complex in a different way, who knows? It's beyond our understanding, clearly, because we're just monkeys on a rock, as Bernardo Kastrup likes saying. So there we go. I hope that was useful. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.